Hello, everyone. My name is Craig Klickner. I build this business with my wife, Carrie Bolig. We're based out of Madison, Wisconsin, and have had the privilege of being in this environment for close to a couple decades now, and it has really impacted our life in a very positive way. And obviously, we have created a certain amount of success, but it didn't necessarily come overnight, and it was a process of learning certain skills and learning certain mindsets that I didn't get growing up. I grew up in a family of engineers, and it was more the go to school, get a good job, live happily ever after, save, don't overspend, and you'll be able to retire someday. And so nothing wrong with that thought process. It's certainly fine for certain folks, but we wanted more out of life. We're excited about giving ourselves more options, and we've certainly found that through this opportunity. I won't go into examples of that, but my wife stepped away from her teaching job at age 25. I was able to step away from my commercial banking career about 8 years ago, and it's really freed up to build the business as well as engage in other projects in our lives. That's been really rewarding and having a lot more flexibility to spend time with our kids and travel the world and yada, yada, yada. So how do we get there, though? Obviously, there's a lot of mindset that needs to be learned and shifts that need to happen. But one of the biggest things that we do to scale in our business, which is the same thing any business owner does to scale any business, is this concept of networking. And the process of networking is so critical for our lives, whether it's finding a good doctor, whether it is figuring out how to be better in learning a foreign language or a language that you don't already know how to speak. It is foundational for life. And I think what a lot of people start thinking of networking and sharing our story and things like that, they immediately kind of put on like a salesperson hat. And I really encourage people in our group not to ever put on a salesperson hat, but instead put on the business owner hat. And if you know anyone who's ever started a restaurant or a food truck or food cart, or maybe something like an online Etsy business, they are networking. Whether they're networking online or whether they're networking out and about in person, they are networking. And I can give example after example after example of that. So it's really important to realize that networking is normal, but networking is even more normaler for a business owner. And when we can eradicate this thought process that it's odd, it helps a lot. Now, the second component that people tend to do, and I was guilty of this, I am a self-prescribed ambivert. So I'm not an introvert, I'm not an extrovert, I'm in between. If I'm feeling like talking to people, it usually depends on the environment, who I'm talking to, who I'm with, and or my mood or my energy level and whatnot. But the thing that I've really learned is not to overthink what we do and try to project onto others that I need them to do what I do because I need people in my business, et cetera, et cetera. And the way that I've learned to think is to share my story, share what I've been up to, share why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then listen. And so Carrie said this a long time ago, and I've quoted it many, many times. She said, broadcast what you believe so the right people can find you. So one of the things that I'm a big, big proponent of is figuring out how to articulate your story in a way that is meaningful to you and isn't cookie cutter, paste and slap, but also backing up before even the story and getting to what I call the micro story. And so if, and I use this example a lot, but if you're driving down the interstate and you're driving and I'm flipping through the radio channels and, I'm flipping through and there's some country on and then some rock and then all of a sudden, some R&B pops on and R&B from the 90s is your jam, you're going to say like, whoa, stop, turn up the volume. And so I like to use that same approach in what we do. So if I'm out networking or if I'm just out living, not even networking, I'm just living my life and I am standing in line somewhere and I ask somebody, oh, hey, yeah, how are you doing? How's the day going? Or man, this line is long at the post office. Can you believe it? Whatever it is. And they ask me what I do or what I did this weekend. I just go ahead and give that person an update of 2 or 3 options. Do they like country? Do they like rock? Or do they like, hip hop? And so it might sound something to the effect of like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? I would say, oh yeah, I went to the game. My wife and I tried a new Thai restaurant, and then also met up with some business partners who are helping me start some online companies. Pretty excited to have some options in my life so I don't have to work for somebody else forever, right? And when I share that, then they now have an option of which thing they want to talk about. If they want to talk about the game, let's say it's the Packers, which I don't follow, but let's say it's the Badgers, Wisconsin Badgers, which we do follow, then we talk about that. And if they want to talk about the Thai restaurant my wife and I tried, then we talk about Thai food. And if they want to talk about business, because that's the frequency they're on, that's what they're into, that's what they're about, that's the way their brain is wired right now in their life, then we talk about business. And I think the mistake a lot of us make is we try to project onto others, well, are they going to be excited about what we do? Do they want to do that? Are they looking? Are they hungry? Are they open-minded? What if they don't like what we do? All these things, and it's just unnecessary. Just share what you've been up to with a little emphasis on why I'm up to something. And then all of a sudden what you'll get is the right people to talk about the right things. And so if somebody asks me about the Thai restaurant, I'm perfectly happy to talk about that. There's nothing wrong with that. And maybe we don't talk about business and everybody wins. And so I think there's this mystique out there that you have to be this really amazing salesperson or networker to get conversations like this going. But here's what I've experienced. The right people will start to ask those types of questions, and then learning how to be a little bit skillful in your responses can go a long ways. If you have a little bit of practice, and there'll be other audios to start to walk you through what that practice might sound like and how to answer, well, what do you do and who are you working with? There'll be other audios to maybe cover that in more detail. But now I can actually go out and share that story, that micro story, and open the door to my coaches and mentors and let them do the vetting, let them do the qualifying, let them explain what we do. And I don't need to be the person doing that. And when I realized, our sponsors, JP Ritu Kapoor, were really brilliant at communicating about what we did and how we did it, and helping guide people and helping vet out the wrong folks that maybe aren't going to be great business partners. My responsibility was to just find out who is looking and be a bridge, not have all the answers. And so when you go out with that mindset, it can really change a lot of things in terms of being able to create results and not having so much fear around it. Okay. But let's talk just a little bit about fear. I think for a lot of us, there is a fear that other people might reject us, might reject our business model, or maybe not want to come to our party, or maybe not want to show up at our presentation or our dance recital or whatever it is that we're doing, right? And what I have found is that people who are willing to broadcast what they believe to enough people will find the people who believe what they believe. And if you don't broadcast what you believe and what you're doing and where you're going and why, then those people can never find you. And they also feel isolated and alone and in fear and with less options in their life. And it becomes a responsibility to communicate what we do and why we do it so that we can be a light and identify people who are looking and can change the lives of people who do jive with our environment and do want to build a business for themselves, but maybe don't have a lot of capital and don't have a lot of resources or other expertise to build something. And I think that most of society, Western culture for sure, is realizing I need to have more than one way to make money. But what do I do? And I don't know anybody who's won at a high level, and I don't even know what to take or what systems to use or where to go. And they're Googling it and starting little businesses, selling things for a little bit, and then not actually being able to scale and duplicate and build something that can impact their lives and their families' lives in a significant way. We've obviously found that in this environment, and I would encourage everyone to first, before you share about anything, movie, restaurant, this business system, first you have a good experience. You use the products, you get around the communities, you receive that value, and then as a function of that, you articulate that value and you share what you've learned, why you've learned it, and why you're doing what you're doing. And the right people you will absolutely connect with, and you'll find networking absolutely a blast, versus being difficult or hard or grueling. We wish you the absolute best on your journey, and we know that without a doubt, those who do the work can create momentum, and from the momentum, you'll enjoy the process and you'll start getting results. Wish you the best on your journey. Please reach out to us if there's anything we can ever do. Over and out from Madison, Wisconsin.